Why your body stops burning fat after a few weeks of dieting. You start a diet. The first 2 weeks are almost magical. The scale drops. Your clothes feel different. You feel like you finally figured it out. Then week 3 arrives and everything stops. Same food. Same deficit. Zero movement on the scale. You assume you're doing something wrong. You're not. Your body figured out what you were doing, and it fought back. Here's exactly why fat loss stalls, what your body is actually doing when it happens, and the only strategies that actually work to break through it. 1. Your body doesn't want to lose fat. It wants to survive. This is the foundational reality that makes everything else make sense. Your body has no aesthetic goals. It doesn't care about your summer plans or your progress photos. It has one objective: keep you alive, and fat is its primary long-term energy reserve. Losing that reserve triggers biological alarm systems that have been refined over millions of years of human survival. When you eat less than you burn, your body reads that as a famine signal. Not immediately, but consistently, over weeks, it begins responding to the deficit the same way it would respond to a genuine food shortage. It gets efficient. It gets defensive. And it gets very good at slowing down the rate at which it burns through its reserves. This isn't a flaw in your biology. It's your biology working exactly as designed. The problem is that it's designed for survival, not for looking lean at the beach. 2. Your metabolism adapts down to match your intake. This is called metabolic adaptation, and it's the primary reason fat loss stalls after weeks of dieting. As your body loses weight, 2 things happen simultaneously that reduce your total daily energy expenditure. First, you weigh less. A lighter body burns fewer calories doing everything. Walking, breathing, digesting, existing. All of it costs slightly less energy than it did when you were heavier. This is inevitable and mathematical. Every pound you lose slightly reduces your maintenance calories. Second, your body actively downregulates your metabolism beyond what weight loss alone would predict. It reduces the energy cost of movement. It makes your organs run more efficiently. It decreases something called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is all the unconscious movement you do throughout the day. Fidgeting, posture adjustments, the way you walk. All of it drops without you noticing, burning hundreds fewer calories daily than you were burning at the start of your diet. The result is that the deficit you created at the start of your diet shrinks, or disappears entirely, without you changing anything. You're eating the same, moving the same, but your body has quietly closed the gap. 3. Leptin drops and hunger skyrockets. Leptin is the hormone that signals your brain that you have enough stored energy and don't need to eat more. Fat cells produce leptin proportionally to their size: more fat, more leptin, stronger fullness signal. As you lose fat, your fat cells shrink. They produce less leptin. Your brain receives a weaker fullness signal and interprets that as starvation risk. In response, it cranks up hunger hormones, specifically ghrelin, and simultaneously makes food more mentally rewarding. You don't just get hungrier. Food looks better, smells better, and is harder to resist. Your brain is trying to get you to eat your way back to safety. This is why dieting gets harder the longer you do it, not easier. The biological pressure to eat increases the leaner you get. Willpower alone cannot beat a hormone cascade. Understanding that the hunger is biological, not weakness, is the first step to managing it strategically. 4. Muscle loss accelerates the problem. If your diet is aggressive, a large deficit without adequate protein and strength training, your body will sacrifice muscle tissue alongside fat to meet its energy needs. This is the worst possible outcome for long-term fat loss. Muscle is metabolically expensive. Every pound of muscle you carry burns additional calories at rest. Lose muscle during a diet and your resting metabolic rate drops further, compounding the metabolic adaptation that's already slowing fat loss. You end up lighter on the scale, but with a slower metabolism and a higher body fat percentage than when you started. Skinny fat. Lighter but not leaner. Protect muscle during a diet with adequate protein, at least 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight, and continued strength training. Your body will preferentially burn fat when it knows muscle is being used and protein is available to maintain it. 5. How to actually break through the plateau. The most effective strategy is a diet break, not a cheat day, but a structured 2-week period of eating at maintenance calories. Research consistently shows that diet breaks restore leptin levels, partially reverse metabolic adaptation, and reset the hormonal environment that makes continued fat loss possible. You don't gain fat during a diet break if you hit maintenance accurately. You reset the system. The second strategy is refeeding, 1 to 2 days per week at maintenance or slight surplus, primarily from carbohydrates. Carbohydrates drive leptin production more effectively than fat or protein. Strategic refeeding days keep leptin elevated throughout a diet, slowing the hormonal decline that causes hunger and stalls. The third strategy is simply patience combined with a smaller deficit. A 500-calorie deficit creates adaptation faster than a 200-calorie deficit. Slower fat loss with a smaller deficit often produces more total fat loss over time, because it minimizes metabolic adaptation and muscle loss simultaneously. Your body is not broken when fat loss stalls. It is working. The question is whether you understand the system well enough to work with it instead of against it. The Iron Monk playbook covers the training side of this equation, building the muscle that protects your metabolism through every phase of fat loss. Iron Monk out.